Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. Today we're going to talk about Ethereum, the Ethereum Tsunami. If you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and also check out the Telegram channel, which you can find a link to in the description below. Let's go ahead and jump in. So we're not asking the question anymore, is it the Ethereum Tsunami? I don't think we need to ask that anymore. To me, it seems quite clear that we are in a phase of the cycle where most altcoins are not performing as well as we might expect them to, given where Ethereum is. But we've said this all along, that there will likely come a phase where Bitcoin puts in a new all-time high, it has a major pullback, it goes into this bounce where it goes back up, and during that time is usually where you get what I've referred to for months now as the Ethereum Tsunami. And one of the things I think helped propel this Ethereum Tsunami is back over here. Because I don't know about you guys, but I was seeing all over crypto YouTube and crypto Twitter, people were very bearish on Ethereum. I saw some people telling you to sell your Ethereum for other altcoins, chasing those pumps, and we said, hey guys, no, this is not how the market works. You don't sell your blue chip crypto and chase a pump in another coin. You wait for the pump to come to you. And so I think there were a lot of people that unfortunately sold their Ethereum at around $1,400. And then you look at it today, and we're literally coming up on a 2x from that point, 2x, and it hasn't even been that long since we were at $1,400. I mean, look at this right here. This was 1422. This wick is obviously not valid; it's just the exchange. But this is 1422. We're up a modest 94% against the U.S. dollar since the end of February. So in the last 2 months, Ethereum's up almost 100%. Just measured by these weekly candles. And some of the wick, some of this was actually valid. We did come a little bit lower on a lot of different exchanges. So, hey, we knew this was going to happen. We said we identified what needed to happen. Bitcoin has to be back in price discovery mode. Then it has to have a nice drop. Following the drop, it needs to have a bounce. Okay, it needs to have a bounce. And what is that bounce, right? What is that bounce? Well, for Bitcoin, we even speculated on the channel that it could be a bounce off the 100-day SMA. And basically the reason for that was, the discussion of a relief rally. Okay, like, hey, we need a relief rally. Our daily RSI is lower than it has been since March of 2020. Remember, if you go look at that for Bitcoin and you look at the relative strength index, and we were following this, and I'm just making this a little bit easier so you guys can see it. And we said, hey guys, we're literally at levels on the daily RSI that we haven't seen since our pandemic drop back in March of 2020. It seems likely that we could get a bounce. Okay, right? It seems likely we could get a bounce. And interestingly, that bounce would also be corresponding with the 100-day moving average, which is the same moving average we held as support several times during the last cycle. The 100-day there, and the 100-day there. We didn't quite hold it there. We did go below it. But you can see that there were times where we clearly held it as support. And so the implication of the Ethereum Tsunami is that you have to have this bounce. You have to have it. If you don't have it, then the bulls become very, very worried about Ethereum in the short term if you don't have this bounce. Because what Ethereum hates more than anything, is for Bitcoin to be going down every single day. Okay, it can hold up. Ethereum can hold up against it for a certain period of time, for a certain length of time. But if it keeps happening and it keeps going down week after week, then eventually the tides will turn and the Ethereum Bitcoin valuation will no longer be able to sustain it. Okay, so we go back and we say, well, what caused? What are the implications of Bitcoin continuing to drop? Okay, so if Bitcoin continues to drop here, and we look at this and we say, all right, it's nothing more than a dead cat bounce for Bitcoin before going lower. It could mean maybe going lower to test our bull market support band. If that is the implication, and you go back to 2017, 2018, Ethereum had a nice move after Bitcoin had its drop. Okay, so it had its drop over here on December 17th, and then it had this dead cat bounce December 30th of 2017 where it came back up. But then it came back down, and we know that Ethereum had its local top on January 13th. Okay, so if you go look at the Ethereum valuation, back in 2018, we can see that the peak happened on the 13th of January. What was Bitcoin doing on the 13th of January? Well, on the 13th of January, that was when Bitcoin really started to make its run down to the 20-week SMA. So it's a finicky situation, to say the least. It's a very finicky situation, to say the least. And going back to the 20-week, this is where Ethereum, I think, would lose confidence. This is where Ethereum loses confidence. You can see that it lost confidence there. If you go look at the Ethereum Bitcoin valuation back in 2018, where did it lose confidence? It wasn't on the 13th. That was where it started to go down in USD and not really put in a new all-time high. But it wasn't until the week of the 29th. Well, what happened the week of the 29th? What happened the week of the 29th of January? Well, we'll take a look. Okay, we'll take a look and see exactly what happened for Bitcoin on the week of the 29th of January. So, what happened? The break below the 20-week moving average. Okay, so you had the break below the 20-week moving average on the 29th. On the 29th for the Ethereum Bitcoin valuation, that is identically where the local top was. But the local top for the Ethereum Bitcoin valuation did not correspond to the local top for the Ethereum USD valuation, which happened about 2 weeks before. So if your goal is to use Ethereum to convert to USD, then you might navigate this market differently than if your goal is to convert Ethereum to Bitcoin. And it ultimately depends on what your risk appetite is. Do you want to grow your USD stack? Do you want to grow your Bitcoin stack? Do you want to just keep on holding your Ethereum until it reaches $10,000 or something, and then decide to sell some? So it all depends on sort of where you stand. So we go back and we look at Bitcoin and we say, you know what? I mean, it is relatively close to the 20-week. Obviously, there is some wiggle room here, about 13-14%. So Bitcoin could drop 14%. And as long as it doesn't break the 20-week SMA, which is, I think Ethereum can remain relatively strong against Bitcoin. And this, again, is what happened back in 2018. It remained strong, even for a couple weeks after its all-time high. And if you look at the Ethereum USD valuation, we know that it peaked on the week of the 13th. We had a red week before going back into the green week, before even having a higher wick on the following week. So remember, it can take some time. It can take some time to play out. Obviously, the Ethereum Bitcoin valuation is relatively bullish right now. We are, in fact, coming back up to the top of our uptrend channel that we've been discussing for well over a year now. We are coming back up to the top of it. This is the Ethereum Bitcoin valuation on a linear scale on Binance. This is the Ethereum Bitcoin valuation on a logarithmic scale. And you're basically seeing the same pattern play out. So, what does this mean? Does it mean we have to come back down after we get to this? Of course not. At the end of the day, these are just lines on a chart. I mean, it could be that we break it here. We also said that we could have broken it there. The implication, though, is that, hey, guys, the risk is getting a little bit higher, right? The risk is getting a little bit higher, and we don't really know exactly where it's going to turn around. My guess is that Ethereum can remain strong against Bitcoin as long as Bitcoin is above the 20-week SMA, and as long as Bitcoin doesn't go back into price discovery mode, because that's also another implication of something that could happen. What if it goes back into price discovery mode and goes up another modest $11,000 in the short term? Well, in that scenario, Ethereum stays relatively bullish against the US dollar, but it might get somewhat bearish against Bitcoin. Is that a bad thing? No, I just think we keep playing the same game over and over and over. It is remarkable that we have been able to go above 0.05. Now, what another thing I want to do is go back and look at the Ethereum, and by the way, I'm calling this the Ethereum Tsunami because we're clearly seeing Ethereum strength against Bitcoin weakness and also relative altcoin weakness in the entire market. Okay, so despite the fact that it seems like the entire market seems to be pulling back some, Ethereum continues to put in new all-time highs, and every time it pulls back slightly, some people get bearish, but then it seems like a couple days later, it's going on to new all-time highs. Now, if you go back to 2018, you can see that this rally where it outperformed basically the rest of the market and did approximately a 2x in the span of about 13 or 14 days. Yeah, I mean, it lasted about 14 days. And if you go to the current time and we look at it and we say, well, how long has it been going on so far? We look at this and we say, all right, well, so far it's been going on for about, sorry, I probably should actually measure the date so that we can easily, quickly identify it. It's been going on for about 4 days as measured. However, we have to recognize that it will not play out exactly the same way that it played out back then, right? It simply won't. And we've already had periods where we did stuff similar to it, but then we just ultimately kept moving up. And the reason we kept moving up was because Bitcoin hasn't gone below the 20-week. So it all comes back to the 20-week SMA, in my opinion. It all comes back to that. As long as Bitcoin doesn't break the 20-week, I think Ethereum should remain relatively strong against Bitcoin. Despite the fact that Ethereum is having a slight pullback right now, it still looks relatively strong against Bitcoin. I mean, we're now at 0.0517, and if we switch this over to the daily time frame, I mean, look at this. Yeah, we go up and then sideways for a bit, and up and sideways, and up and sideways, and now we're back into moving up, and we're currently at about 0.0516, 0.0517. So hopefully you guys understand in the future what I mean when I say the Ethereum tsunami, because it doesn't necessarily have to indicate a huge market cycle top, but what it indicates is, for sure, it indicates that, hey guys, we're back in this phase of the cycle where Bitcoin's below its prior all-time high. It's in a bounce. The bounce has not put in a new all-time high, and it hasn't gone back to the 20-week. In addition to that, altcoins are looking relatively weak against Ethereum on the whole. Some altcoins look okay, but most of them are not performing well against Ethereum. And that's why I said back several weeks ago when people were encouraging others to sell their Ethereum for altcoins, I said, no, these guys are going to backtrack, and then they're going to have to rationalize why they told people that and say, oh yeah, well maybe I sold my Ethereum, but I sold it for this other coin that went up as well. But the thing is Ethereum continues to go up every single week, basically, against Bitcoin. I mean, every single week. Look at this. Every single week for the last 5 weeks in a row. Just a systematic move against Bitcoin. From the bottom of the wick, it's up about 75% against Bitcoin. That is relatively good. Yes, there are coins that have done better than that, but that is relatively good, especially for being a blue chip crypto, in my opinion, number 2 in the market, and having a relatively high market cap already, it's still doing well. So if we take a look at the Ethereum USD local top so far, it looks like, we've actually hit around that $2,800 mark according to this exchange. So we'll see how high we can go. Obviously, $2,800 could provide some resistance, being twice the prior all-time high. I also know that a lot of people are hoping we push to 3K. I would just say manage your risk accordingly. Recognize that it won't go up forever against Bitcoin, but it can often go up longer than a lot of people think it can. If history is any indication. If you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up. Also check out the Telegram channel, which you can find a link to in the description below. Remember to check out the premium list at intothecryptoverse.com if you want access to the exclusive content, want to know how I'm navigating the market. Make sure you guys check that out, intothecryptoverse.com. If you pay with crypto, you can get a discount. We also have the lifetime option going on for a couple more days before we raise the prices on the lifetime option. So that you can find a link to in the description below. You get access to weekly reports and videos, the Telegram alerts channel, the Telegram chat room, the risk dashboard, the Into the Cryptoverse app, the first Into the Cryptoverse NFT, and more. Make sure you guys check it out. Thank you guys for tuning in. Subscribe to the channel, turn on alerts. I'll see you next time. Bye.